Namaskar, everyone. Welcome to the session. Today we have with us Mr. Sandeep Srivastava. He wears many hats of being a social entrepreneur, a technologist, an author, and an educator. He has written books in the field of internet way back in the 2000 where internet was very new globally. But he's more than that, an educator at heart who's working to bring reforms in the field of school education and very committed to the cause. And today he'll be in conversation with Dr. Ramesh Bijlani on teaching maths. So over to you, and thank you, sir, for joining today.
Namaste, Sandeep ji. Let me add to Aditi's welcome. My welcome and welcome on behalf of the YES team to this session on teaching maths. I've restricted it to teaching maths in the title because a recent conversation we had in the dining hall of Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch focused on that. And somehow that's what stuck to me. But you don't have to feel restricted that you have to talk only about that. I know your canvas is extremely wide and covered school education as a whole. So maybe, I mean, if you like to start, you can start with how you got so involved in school education and what your major focus is, and before we turn to maths in particular. Yeah. Please unmute yourself. You're on mute.
Yeah, bhaiya. Sorry. Now I'm audible now? Okay. So I would just want to start by connecting to what you said to Mirambika. We have a daughter now, 26, who was educated at Mirambika till grade 6, and while she was there, we felt totally self-actualized. There's nothing more to ask for the education of our daughter. But in grade 6, she sought to step out of the school, and we discovered homeschooling. So from grade 7th onwards, we homeschooled her and ended up teaching her, the O levels and the A levels as a private student, ourselves, my wife and I. And that's where I got exposed to the challenges in reading material, the textbooks, of course, pedagogy, etc. And more specifically, mathematics, because I'm not just boasting anything. I'm just following the numbers on my mark sheets. So I have been brilliant in mathematics. Yeah, I have our second highest marks in grade 12 in 83 in the eastern region in mathematics. So, and then studied computer engineering in those days. I had 10 papers of calculus. I aced them all. But I don't know, somehow I lived with the feeling that, maths ka feel nahi hai, matlab. Give me a question, I'll solve it, but I didn't know what it is. Why am I doing it? Kind of. So when we started educating our daughter, I had an opportunity to visit that actually. I could see what was I missing in mathematics. And as Aditi has introduced me as a writer, author. So I published my first book globally. I was the first Indian to write about internet in the year 2000, before the dot-com bust, in UK. So I know how to write a book. But between 2000, 2001, 2002, I wrote 3 books globally. UK, America, and India by Sage. So I knew her right away. So that after the education was done, I started articulating them as textbooks, as new genre books. So that's how mathematics and writing and where I am. But it doesn't stop at maths. For me, it's like history, geography as much, and which I attribute to my mathematical, my mathematized thinking. I can ask questions of kind which a non-mathematized mind would not ask. Actually, can't even think that this could be a question. So I say I've written history books only because I can think mathematically. So that's to me maybe the context setting for where I am today and mathematics.
And you made a very important point when you said that you have a mathematized thinking.
Yes, Bhaiya. I mean, this is a recent phrase for me, a year old for me. That is, we need to grow up with mathematized thinking. That is saying that we study physics not for the physics per se. We study physics, or we should study physics to think physically, chemistry to think chemically, mathematics to think mathematically, history to think historically, music to think musically, not to become expert in anything. That's beyond 18 and further. But till the age of 18 is about critically sharpening your gifted faculties at birth. So yes, mathematized thinking, and in the current times now, this AI and the fourth industrial revolution, it is so much based on inorganic intelligence, non-human intelligence, which is all mathematical, which is 100% mathematical, 100% number oriented, 100% modeling oriented, number modeling oriented. So that it becomes even more important and interesting that we grow up to think mathematically. That given a real life situation, how do I mathematize it? So that's.
You said this applies not only to mathematics, but also to all other subjects. For example, if a child is studying about friction in physics, then unless he has the feel of how it feels moving something on a wet surface as compared to an oily surface,
Right.
or a dry surface altogether, or a smooth surface compared to a rough surface, how will he have an idea of what friction is about?
In fact, there's more to
a
it.
Mental picture of what you are studying.
No, there's more to it, bhaiya. Actually, I mean, I say that when it's friction, if the child hears the word friction for the first time in grade 8 physics or 7th physics, she would never realize that this friction is same as the friction in relationships. Forget about surfaces. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, if a child grows up to say that my parents fight, rather than saying that my parents have friction, that's a different world actually of seeing things. You can never understand. Again, you never have the feel of friction unless you have the feel of friction in relationships. If a child hears the word fraction for the first time in grade 3, third grade, and you never have the feel of what a fraction is actually. So it is actually, and in fact, I mean, I may add here itself one more word in mathematics, school education systems, school mathematics, which is actually not mathematics. That's the problem. Word problems get introduced in grade 2 or grade 3, and that's where the downhill journey starts. Word problems are a nightmare in mathematics education. Globally, no, there's no exception to this. And whereas mathematics must be seen, read, understood through word problems. That is still grade 3, for example. There shouldn't be anything other than word problem. That is the real life problems. And then you start abstracting thereafter. And what I mean by this is, for example, I mean, I mean, I run academics of DPS Jalandhar. Just so happens, bhaiya. Just so happens. So a girl who's now in grade 7th, I have a video of her of grade first grade, Nayantara. Nayantara's teacher wrote on the blackboard, the math teacher, 7 minus 3, a line, expecting the answer 4. Nayantara gets up and says, "Ma'am, this is the wrong question." So the teacher was surprised. I mean, how is this a wrong question? So he asked, "How is this a wrong question?" So he said, "How can you subtract, you know, 3 erasers from 7 pencils? Because 7 means nothing, 3 means nothing, unless you tell me what 7 is, because 7 could be 7 billion people, or 7 bacteria, or 7 rupees, or 7 paise. It could be anything, actually, anything. 7 means nothing." So the teacher was surprised, half surprised, and then she asked her, "So tell me what is the right question here, if it is 7 and 3? So she says, "I had 7 balloons, 3 balloons burst, 4 balloons left." No one would ever get it wrong, actually. You can actually see it. So mathematics is missing verbalization, visualization, and verbalization. You need to see mathematics, and you need to verbalize it, be able to speak it out. And now the world cannot miss math anymore. No one can be left behind in mathematics. That phase is over. So that's the most critical thing, actually.
You mean the advent of computers and calculators has not really made learning maths properly redundant?
The AI has, bhaiya. Yes, that didn't. I mean, in India, even today, you can't use calculator in grade 10th and 12th. Actually, we are teaching the wrong mathematics. It is not mathematics. That's why you are doing it. Otherwise, I can give you all the computing power on earth, but give you a real life situation, and that would not help, because the first thing that you need to do is to mathematize it. That situation, to be able to understand, read, and write mathematically. तो ये तो करते ही नहीं है. We do everything else. So yes, calculators, and but Shreya, when she took the IGCSE exam, so out of 3 papers, 2 papers, in 2 papers calculators were allowed. Karlo use. If you can understand the question, then feel free to use the calculator. If you can mathematize the question, you can see the question, use the calculator, because that's not what the question is about. And it just so happens also, Bhaiya, that is 2023 is a very interesting year for mathematics. In 1823, a mathematician called Cauchy, Cauchy, Cauchy wrote the first formalized calculus book. And math started getting formalized, rigorized, arithmetized, and losing intuition, losing feel. Steps became very important. Steps. You remember maths mein? Steps. Step marking hai. It's all wrong. Yes, that rigorized mathematics is very interesting for mathematicians. It's very interesting for scientists, because that gives them a solid basis of using mathematics in their research and computation, but not for learning mathematics. So math is too early abstracted, which is the power of mathematics. That is, 3 apples plus 4 apples is 7 apples, and 3 elephants and 4 elephants are 7 elephants. 3 planets plus 4 planets are 7 planets. That's the power of mathematics. But we abstract it too early in grade KG itself.
Yes, as you quite rightly said, that rigorized mathematics in which the steps are emphasized sometimes means that the student follows all the steps. The answer is right, but the child has not really formed a mental picture of what has happened. And therefore, if by chance, while following some step, he's following the step correctly, but he makes a little mistake so that the answer is wrong, the child can't even distinguish between an answer which is just wrong but reasonable and an answer which is wrong and also ridiculous.
Yes, bhaiya. Yes, bhaiya. In fact, I mean, I say I'm a product of that system. I mean, I don't know why and how that feeling was left in me कि maths का feel नहीं है. So when I started teaching my daughter, it all came back to me. God gave me an opportunity to redeem myself.
I'm sure you must be familiar with a book by John Holt, which says
Yeah, John Holt.
How Children Fail.
Education pay.
That was a book I read when my daughter was in school.
Okay.
And I found it very interesting. And I felt that, yes, many of these things which he's talking about, probably I didn't pick up when I was in school. So I was also getting educated. But then many of these things had happened sort of through experience
Yes.
to develop a mental picture, but the school had not contributed much to it. The school
Yes.
had basically contributed what are the steps required to do something,
Right.
or to remember the tables, mathematical tables, but the school had not made enough of a contribution to forming a mental picture of what was happening. That uh, John Holt did in his book, and then I
Yes.
tried to introduce that to my daughter at a
In fact,
very early
where
age.
you talked of tables. Tables is a very interesting thing, actually. Even now, unfortunately, very unfortunately, the only way for a family to show a child or their child's mathematical prowess, चलो 19 का पहाड़ा सुनाओ, okay, या 19.5 का पहाड़ा सुनाओ. Now, I mean, first, the only multiplication table you need is from 1 to 9 in multiplication. You only multiply one digit to one digit. So the only multiplication you ever need in life to work out problems is 9 into 9. It doesn't get more than that ever. First. Second, if you look at the mathematics table that are used in books, I mean, I know of authors, mathematics textbook authors, whose grade 3 book will write the table of 5 as 5 into 1, 5 into 2, 5 into 3, 5 into 4, 5 into 5. Grade 5 mathematics book of, say, table of 9 will be 1 into 9, 2 into 9, 3 into 9, 4 into 9, 5 into 9. As if 5 into 1 is same as 1 into 5. They are not. They are not. So the table of 5 will be 1 into 5, 2 into 5, 3 into 5, and not 5 into 1, 5 into 2, 5 into 5. Not. That's by the very definition of multiplication. Multiplier and multiplicand. Okay. So, it is that horribly wrong. It is that horribly soulless. It is that horribly logicless. In fact, if you have to ask anyone, give me definition of division, for example. Okay. Anyone on earth can only give you example. 8 by 4 is 2. 8 by half is 16. And both are wrong. I mean, we'll come to that later. So they're anywhere wrong. But they can't tell you a definition of division which will apply in all situations of division. I mean, I don't know. I would love to hear from you. If you have heard that the definition of division, A by B, A divided by B, is actually how many B's in A. So that 8 by half is actually 16 halves, not 16. That will be anti-science, anti-physics. 8 चीजें 16 हो गई. 8 by 4 is 2/4. So the school mathematics teaches 8 by 4 is 2 and 8 lakhs by 4 lakhs is 2. No, 8 by 4 is 2/4 and 8 lakhs by 4 lakhs is 2 4 lakhs. There are 2 4 lakhs in 8 lakhs. It's just wrong. And you can ask your maid. And by maid, I do not mean any less of women, of course. I'm just saying, typically they are, not, I mean, first generation learner mothers. Kafi jada. So, I mean, I have done this. I asked this. So you can ask anyone with no school education ever. But वही 15-18 की उम्र के बाहर, मतलब वही adult कि 50 पैसे में कितनी चवन्नी या 50 में कितने 25 पैसे. They will tell you exactly 50 पैसे में 2 25 पैसे. But school मैथ क्या पूछेगा? half by 1 by 4. And ये क्या चीज है? 2 रुपए में कितने 50 पैसे? So you will hear 4 50 पैसे. 4 50 पैसे. But school math पूछेगा 2 by half. And you don't know what it is. So uh, this de-intuitive mathematics. In fact, now I talk about mathematizing mathematics. Math has been thoroughly demathematized. It's time that we start mathematizing. Yeah, and Bhaiya, I mean, I hope. I mean, I'll be happy to do more talks, but I mean, my ballpark number is K-12, the school mathematics, KG to 12th mathematics is no more than 50 hours. Of course, over a period. I'm not saying 150 hour. Okay, some hours in KG, some are in primary, some hours in middle, some hours in secondary, some hours in is no more than 50 hours. If math education takes 51 hour, one more hour, then there's something wrong that has gone wrong. Something has not been well founded. And a very peculiar fact about mathematics, the way we organize mathematics, or the mathematics is organized, is that mathematics runs deep. There are multiple layers. Mathematics is rigidly hierarchical. If you miss a layer, you'll never get it. The one beyond, period, full stop. So math is rigidly hierarchical. Math is very few concepts. School math, I'm saying school math, I'm not saying mathematics as a whole. I have no right to say that. So the school math is very limited in breadth, but deep, threading. Science is wider, more threads, but less long, less deep. Social science is very broad, much lesser depth. That is, connected concepts are much lesser. If I don't get something in social science, I will miss 4 concepts or 5 ideas, period. But democracy, republic, I don't know, but say 2 words, 3 words. So ideas. So that's the advantage of mathematics, and that's the disadvantage of mathematics. If you miss out on the hierarchy of concepts, you'll never get it. 5,000 hours will not do anything to you. It's just more practice of the same poor mathematics. But if you get it right, it's just 50 hours. K-12 mathematics is just 50 hours. For a educated parent, that is formally educated, well-formed parents, it is just 50 hours. Not one more. Of course, they would need reinforcements to keep recall, but if mathematics takes more than 50 hours, it is poorly understood or poorly taught.
So actually, for learning tables, probably just having the table and remembering it is not proper. The much better would be to have actual objects, small objects.
You said it, Bhaiya.
You said it. Line them up in such a way that you can get a table and the child can see, yes, this is what it means.
Yes.
So it's a table of 5, then in one row you put just 5, another row you put 2 sets of 5, in the third one 3 sets of 5, yes, and then count them.
Yes, Bhaiya, but exactly.
That would be the way to build up a mental image.
Correct. Table of 5 is 1 of 2, or 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, 4 of 5, exactly. And which means 1 into 5, 2 into 5, 3 into 5, 4 into 5. Exactly. In fact, now that we're talking about it, so 2 into 3 is not same as 3 into 2, is not same as 1 into 6, is not same as 6 into 1, is not same as 1 plus 5, is not same as 1 plus 2 plus 4, it's not same as 1 plus 2 plus 4, it's not same as 1 plus 3 plus 2. They're all different physical scenarios, and they are represented by different mathematical expressions. Yes, at times I'll say only 6. Oh, there are six chairs, because I can't see a pattern in them. कि बोलो चल 2 एक साथ है, 3 एक साथ है, 1 एक साथ है. I can't see that pattern. So I say 6 हैं. Only then I'll say 6 actually. In fact, the power of mathematics, why mathematics is the language of computing. It's only because it is only mathematics, Bhaiya, which will represent a physical reality, a given physical reality, in only one way. There's no 2 ways of writing a given reality, mathematically speaking. That's the power of mathematics. In fact, what Einstein did, those massive formulas was actually mathematics. He was the biggest armchair physicist, the tallest armchair physicist. He was a theoretical physicist. Okay, he never did experiment. He thought experimented. He did pure mathematics. So what came out was just pure mathematics, and it had to work. It took 100 years for us to physically, exactly 100 years. 1916, he wrote a theory of general relativity, and in 2016, we actually saw that evidence in the universe of gravity. Okay, but he wrote then because it was just mathematics. So mathematics is the language of order. Whatever we know for sure can only be expressed mathematically. No language can actually capture that precision. Biology and mathematics are at the moment fairly separated because we don't know biology enough. The more biology we know, the more mathematized biology will be. This is a very secular trend, actually. This is it. Anything that we know for sure or better can only be expressed mathematically. The entire technology, even tap se kitna pani aana hai, is mathematized. No technology can be 99.99% mathematized. All technologies are 100% mathematized. So we study nature, we discover the scientific laws, the science in the nature. We use that scientific laws to create technologies, but technologies can never exceed what we don't know, what is not yet a scientific law. To develop new technologies, we discover new science. We have to discover new science. That's how the relationship between nature, science, technology, and mathematics. And all technologies are 100% mathematized. That is where in this fourth industrial revolution, we're living the most sci-tech times ever. And the intensity of science and technology in our lives will only increase, which means mathematics will only, the humankind is getting mathematized. By default, we can't help it. In fact, I was with Professor Dhar of GIMS the other day, and he took me on a beautiful session on a ride about how spirituality is so much mathematized. I mean, to me, that was a new thing. I enjoyed hearing him. I mean, I can't talk about it because that's not, I can talk with any sense of confidence or even understanding proper. But nature, science, technology, and mathematics are, I mean, anything which is repetitive, which is ordered, can only be expressed mathematically. Be it psychology, sociology, anything actually is mathematized. Math is the language of order, and that's where it's said that the math is the language of gods. Math is the language of the universe, because there can't be chaos. There just cannot be chaos. And there's a whole theory about even chaos is ordered. There's some order in chaos also. So mathematics has to be learned, bhaiya, for this. The joy of understanding what mathematics is. And it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's amazing. It trains your mind in a way which can only come out of mathematics education. True mathematics education. The real mathematics education. What I call 100% mathematics. This is 100% mathematics. Which rewires your brain, rewires how you see things, how you write things, how you express things, and it's just beautiful.
We had some interesting philosophical points also. So, although I mean, to maintain order needs expenditure of energy, otherwise entropy will lead to disorder. But then there seems to be enough energy available in the universe for order to dominate chaos. And what we call chaos is often a reflection of our own ignorance. because we do not know the laws that are
Yes.
behind that order. So
Yes,
just to
Bhaiya.
get
Yes.
an appearance
Yes.
of chaos.
Yes, Bhaiya. Yes. Yes. Exactly. You exactly nailed it. Correct. Correct. Absolutely. 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 Yeah, that's
So
very,
whether
very
it is
beautiful,
in
Bhaiya.
whether it is in mathematics or whether it is in spirituality or the way the divine is running the world, there is a lot of order, and all the energy available for maintaining that order seems to be available. It's just our ignorance that sometimes gives the feeling of chaos.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Now,
Thank you.
what happens in schools can continue all the way to higher education. And sometimes I find that it has been accentuated by the availability of computer software. For example, when a person has done, say, a research piece of research and is trying to analyze it statistically, uh, then if you have a feel for statistics, if you have a mental picture of what statistics is about, then suppose you have two sets of data and you have to see whether they'll be statistically different or the difference will be statistically significant. You can make a reasonable guess by looking at them to see whether the differences are, even if the differences are small, if they're consistent in all the observations, likely to be significant. Whereas even if the differences are big, but they're not consistent, sometimes there is an increase and sometimes there's a decrease, it is likely to be insignificant. And if you do find the average and the standard deviations of the two groups, then when the variation from one to the next is less, then the standard deviation will be small. Now, all these things you can make a reasonable guess. So, but then once you have computer software available and SPSS package or maybe some newer things have come now, and then you don't have to think. And the result is that sometimes if there's a mistake, you make a mistake or the software makes a mistake, you get a ridiculous answer, you'll
You don't
accept it
know.
as valid.
Yeah. No, wait, that's the point of actually mathematized thinking. I mean, can you see it? Can you see the data? In fact, in my last and most recent book on mathematics, I am now, just so happens that I've started a new, my wife and I, we both started a new journey where we're saying that for the next 20 years, we will get math right for humanity and more. So just be relevant to this. And and uh, uh, the entire exercise around this is how do we help people uh, 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 understand what is big data. And in my last book, which is called Mathematizing Mathematics, I personally discovered a lot more about big data and why it's called big data and why big data is such a big deal, and how big data is upturning the way we do research and innovation. So the standard way of doing research till date is that you observe some things, you hypothesize, then you test your hypothesis for right or wrong, multiple times, and and uh, and the big data approach is just the ulta. That is, you collect huge amount of data about those observations, run some mathematical models, the hypothesis will be thrown up to you. It will see the data, connect the data, and the chances of those, you talked about spikes, bhaiya, upar niche, both side of the axis. So those exceptional data, the outliers, would also be captured in big data actually. If you do 1 million observations or 10 million observations, they're likely that you will capture those also. And in fact, I was surprised to know, I'm just sharing because this is a very powerful example of the same, what we're talking about. So in an intergovernmental international effort, two space observatories have been created called SQA, SKA, Square SQA, Square SKA, Square Kilometer Array. Okay. These are in South Africa and in Western Australia, near Brisbane. And what they will do is there will be no astronomer observing what the telescopes are seeing. All the data will simply be stored. Simply stored. And then a group of astronomer will run through the data. And it is supposed to generate so much data every day about observing the universe as the whole internet generates in 1 year as of date. So it's just upturning the way we research and innovate. And people like you and I, everyone has to understand this change. Phenomenal. This is phenomenal. And let me add one more thing here itself. The good news, why mathematics is now approachable for anyone on earth. So till now, at the heart of mathematical applications was or is calculus. Okay. Differential equations to be more precise, but differentiation, integration also. So at the heart of everything is calculus. Now, what is happening in the big data game, in this intelligence embedded non-human game, is that lower order, easier grade 10th or grade 11th mathematics is becoming the core. So linear algebra, probability, matrices and determinants, vectors, and basic calculus, understanding, basic of what is derivative, what is antiderivative, what is the differential equation actually. That's it. That's at the core of using technology for intelligence. And it is very approachable, very, very approachable by anyone. That is just the good formal school education is all that you need to play the game. So that's a very interesting news. I am personally very excited about this fact that, just good school mathematics is all that you need to participate economically the way you want. It doesn't need more than that. So that's also very, very amazing part of maths as it stands today.
Although your focus has been on maths, you've also been trying to work on how school education can be taken out of the conventional schooling system, how we can dispense with the conventional schooling system and yet have school education.
Sorry.
Would you like to talk about that?
Okay, I'm the wrong person perhaps to ask that question, only because to me, again, fortunately for me, but unfortunately for the school system is dead. You talked of John Holt and all that. I follow the best of the writings on school education has come from the US. The best of thinkers, philosophers still comes from there, though they have the poorest education system in the OECD countries. I won't get into that. I know some reasons for it, but that's besides the point. So I had never heard till about 3 months back in a Time magazine, one of the leading educational writer and philosopher there said that the school education will be irrelevant in a matter of months, few months to few years. I had not heard few months ever or anything close to it. क्योंकि तो 20 साल से बात करने के dead हो गया. We're talking for the last 20 years that system is dead. Okay, चल रहा है तो चल रहा है मतलब, but this is dead, and I can't agree more. To me, ChatGPT has put the last nail in the coffin. Period. मतलब nothing can happen to the system anymore. If parents continue to send their children to schools, they are very irresponsible. Though I can understand, I know many examples of parents telling me as I talk to them that अपना career का करे कि बच्चे के career का करे, and who can disagree with it? Yes, मतलब आज तो कमाओगे खाओगे बिल दोगे तभी तो कुछ होगा कल का. I agree with it, but that's not the way parent could ever respond to such questions. Okay, So to me, okay. So that's the broad. Now, what will change actually? How will it change? Because okay. So what is being talked about it that is at what grade? Say grade 12th, highest of the school education thing, and the best school by whatever parameter. If you pick the best student of grade 12th of the best school in the world, in 2023, can she write anything better than ChatGPT in 2023? And with each question, ChatGPT is growing, it's getting better. And the answer mostly is yes and no, depends. But in 2 or 3 years, that will not be true in any way. So what are we preparing our children for? I mean, why do our children go to school? Okay. So to me, there are two solutions actually. The first I call inverted schools. So academics at home, everything else at school. We don't need schools for any academic education, period. The schools may help families, nations, societies, communities to assess and advise, maybe. कि आप ये चीज थोड़ा सा फिर से रिविजिट कर लो, चलो ये चीज कर लो आप, kind of, but not to input anything, not zero. School should not touch academics beyond assessment, which again the school is not capable of, because schools assess teaching and not learning anyway. Schools assess what the teachers have taught or told, not what the students think anyway. So schools also do not know assessment, how to assess children, how to assess learning. But yet, let's say that we can use AI. So we can use AI there. So I can use ChatGPT, put a child's answer there, and perhaps it will give 30 kind of laundry list of inputs, which the teacher may help interpret for the parents or the child. Okay. If at all, I mean, educated parents can themselves look at the ChatGPT reply as to what is wrong or what all may be wrong, and correct. So that's one thing. Academics at home, everything else at school. Second is even harsher. I mean, especially in India at least, but anywhere in the world. So when we say that academics at home and everything else at school, which means all say sports, music, dance, etc., because these ideally need real communities. To learn physics, I don't need a real community. I don't need someone sitting next to me to learn physics. But it would help to have another art interested child next to me who can see my work and feel free to comment, whatever it is. To play a sport, yes, AI, one can see that AI can help, but yet nothing like 11 people playing that game, football. 22 people playing the game, kind of a thing. But in the last 20, 30 years, we have systematically finished any people of interest in non-curricular or non-academic disciplines. Where do we produce musicians anymore? Our daughter, so there is apparently only one Hindustani classical musician in the whole NCR. I won't name. He's connected to your school, our school, my school. He's the only one who can teach you Hindustani classical violin. But you can get 10 of them in Chicago. That's a very interesting thing, actually. You can't teach your child, Kathak anymore, actually, in Delhi. And I'm giving a personal example. A girl who from the age of 2 to age of 21, 19 years of Kathak education, left to do Bhangra because there's no money in it, there's nothing in it. She was our daughter's, Shreya's Kathak teacher. And we didn't get thereafter. It was impossible to get. Herein, NCR, Kathak, Bharatanatyam फिर भी कुछ मिल जाते हैं Bharatanatyam, for example. So that we have systematically killed this entire domain of expertise of people who have passion for music, dance, etc. All this so-called or writing. Writing means free writing. And I don't know how we can ever develop those capabilities actually. So while I say inversion, academics to nikal do school se, I don't need academics in the schools. I don't know what to do with them because we don't have anything there left thereafter. And the sooner we do, the better because we are wasting generations and time.
There are a few questions which I thought you may not answer all of them, but at least one can reflect over.
Yes.
Firstly, I mean, how would one compare teaching by good teachers as compared to trying to learn through Chat GPT? Secondly, is school education all about knowing something? How about developing the faculty to develop clearly, logically, critically, foster original thinking? Can that be done outside the school system? And thirdly, the child goes to school not just to learn and to develop all these faculties, but also for socializing, for learning to interact with others, for physical development. I mean, in integral education, as you know very well, there are so many aspects to education,
Yes.
including psychic education,
Yes.
which again probably cannot be done as easily outside the school system as in the school. So, in view of all this, I mean, can schools really become totally redundant? Because there are so many things that schools can do, which cannot be perhaps done through homeschooling.
Okay, nice. Okay. But yeah, I mean, these are golden questions for me. So, I mean, I'll love to share how I look at them. The first question, I started, making pointers. The first one was teaching. आपका voice खत्म हो गया भैया.
Good teachers versus Chat GPT.
Okay.
A good teacher is, you see, involving the students,
Right.
trying to get something out of the students rather than just tell the students, give the students some information. He's
Okay.
trying to elicit it from the students, involving the students in participating, developing
Yes.
many things logically, trying to show the students that it's not necessary to know everything in advance.
Right.
If you know some basic facts, the rest can be derived through logic. Now, I mean, a good teacher does all these things. ChatGPT will not do all this.
Yes. No. Okay. First disclaimer here. I have nothing to do with ChatGPT. I also personally don't use it. Okay. No. I'm saying, I'm saying it meaningfully in the sense that I still use Google because I don't want a definitive answer when I'm looking for something. I want open-ended links and I want go. I'm a writer. I write. So okay. That's the first input. So it is just not about good teacher versus ChatGPT. That's no debate. First. Second, learning is social, bhaiya. Learning is 100% social. To learn physics or mathematics, it is completely social. I don't know how to explain this except that learning mathematics, which is very formal subject, learning mathematics requires a community, some adults around who read, write, and discuss mathematics, who see mathematics. Learning is purely social. So that ChatGPT has no role to play till the age of 18 to me, actually. Yes, ChatGPT is interesting, as I said, only for assessment. So I go back and put my input, which the ChatGPT does not have as yet. ChatGPT does not do that as yet. Even in ChatGPT 4 paid module, it doesn't do that for you as yet. It is not developed for education as yet. Okay, but that will happen very soon. So that I write something, I put it in ChatGPT, वो उसमें mathematical concept and physics concept and वो मतलब writing meter and writing prose सब निकाल के दे देगा वो. So it will grow me holistically first. So good teacher and ChatGPT is no brainer, no debate. But I wouldn't call it to be a good teacher versus ChatGPT. I'll call it an interested adult, an adult who's interested in the child. Not a teacher. And mostly, actually, the teacher is not interested in the children. I know because of the schools, I have horrifying story of teachers after teachers after teacher who don't even know the name of the 30 children or the 40 children in the class after 1 year of teaching them. Okay, they still identify them by अरे वो छोटा वाला वो लंबी नाक वाला. Actually, I'm naming actual examples. Okay, गलती से निकल गया मेरे सामने teachers का. So that and there's a very interesting dimension here for India, and now increasingly the world, humanity as a whole, and it is this, that is we know the role of language in learning. That is, we think in a language. There are only two ways to think. You think through images or you think through words. And thinking through words is a million times more powerful than thinking through images. Okay. Somebody told me just the other day that there are 80 words for camel in Arabic. Yeah, exactly. You know, there are more than 40 words for those icicles in the countries where temperature freezes. Okay, so okay, whenever you talk of a language, all languages are transacted at 4 levels. Basic, all languages. Basic, where your vocabulary is about 50 words, you can read name and addresses. Then communicative or functional, CBSE calls it functional level. Okay, where you can socially converse in that language. And that's how second language is taught. So French learn German, German learn French at the communicative level. Then is literary level command over the language. In what language do you read literature? Unfortunately for me, it is English, but for my wife, it is both Hindi and English. She's better. And then, bhaiya, you go to the next level, what is called the academic level competence in the language. Because, you know, the best of literature that you can read in any language would be fiction or non-fiction, two genre. Whereas till grade 10th, you have to transact at least 8 genre of the language. Math in the same language. English in math, English in science. Math in English, science in physics in English, biology in English, history in English, like that 8. Economics to some level, 8. And unless you have the felicity of reading an economics text with as much ease in English as a biology text, you can go nowhere. So, to my point, because it's limited time at the moment. So the primary mode of learning anything new is reading. And what is missing in the current system is reading books. For example, books which you will read for mathematics. Read. If you currently wake up anyone on earth, चलो मैथ्स करते हैं, they will get up, copy pen लेके, हाँ सवाल बताइए, and you say नहीं, hold on, सवाल नहीं करना, बातें करनी है मैथ्स की, and he will look at you, what is this nonsense? Okay, so I don't need any teacher, any adult or anything. Actually, I need some interested adults around me, not Gyani. I don't need the Gyan at all now. All that I need, the ability to read. Make reading as my primary mode of learning new things. There are only 4 ways to learn new things. You can read, you can hear, you can see, or you can do. All 4 are ideally needed. But the key question is, where do you start your journey of learning new things? The best is to read and then go to other 3. Not the other way around. It will not work. It is a very poor way of doing it. So that's on via ChatGPT and good teacher or whatever. Second, thinking. Can I show you one of my books? Yeah, this is a book on division. And this has This has 401 pages. Okay, this has 401 pages. And this is only division, the basics of division. These are 57 chapters on division. Bal ki khal. So the creative thinking and the critical thinking is not to come out of any separate practice of the brain. It has to come out of transacting academics in the routine. And once you start reading is the best exercise of the brain anyway. The only exercise of the brain, or not, I won't say that. There are only two exercises of the brain, bhaiya. Conversation, not lectures. Or you read. But where are conversations possible in this world today now? So you read that guy's work. So that's on thinking. For thinking, if I can read volumes and I can read, text and do hold conversations around it with people, I am done. And then where you talked about community and socializing. Socializing. Just another book, bhaiya. This is one of my books. Of Gracious Society and Virtuous Man. I have a chapter which explains why have I used the word man. In 2023, I write a book where I put a title Man on the title. But that aside, where is the Gracious Society? I don't want the socialization, actually. We worked with our own daughter, Shreya. And this is not about the system. Nothing. Shreya stepped out of the school only because of socialization. A class of 12 children couldn't do adequate socialization. It was coming in great conflict with the way we were bringing her up at home and the way school was bringing her or promoting her. Who wants that socialization? The kind of society we live in today, actually. Socialization is no reason to go to school. Definitely. We need to address, but yes. As I said earlier, when I said academics at school and everything else at home, anything at school, yes, socialization could be a part of, officially, part of schools, but the schools need to redesign themselves for giving the right socialization to our children who grow up to be virtuous man. So that's briefly the three things that you're talking about.
So on the last point, I don't think one can learn socializing through a book. You need real human beings to interact with.
No.
Just 1 minute.
No. This book is not to read to socialize. No, this is book for actually placing society, actually saying that socializing is very important. Actually, so one of the chapters in this book is titled Society is a Biological Need. Humans didn't invent society, but bhaiya. We were almost born in a society. It's a biological. So I actually say this. Socializing is perhaps the most important thing that we need to get right by the age of 18. Only a society, a good society, can create good humans. Parents cannot. So this is actually the science and the theory behind creating. And book talks about education, health, and dignity. See how the only role of society is education. Educate well. The only role of governments is economic dignity. Ensure that nothing comes in the way of people securing their economic dignity. Because human dignity is the most important thing. But that's the government's role. Last thing, bhaiya. Human children are not born. A pup is born a pup. A calf is born an elephant. There's nothing to be educated there. Nothing. In fact, when I was telling this somewhere, I was told, oh, now I understand why an elephant calf looks so ugly. I said, how does a calf look ugly? She said, oh, he has big head. Then I realized, yes, because the brain of an animal is almost 90% of the adult size. It doesn't grow. But a human child is born nothing. In fact, there's a child this country does not know. officially. So all animals have 4 phases of growth: infancy, juvenility, adolescence, and adulthood. Humans have a 5th one: infancy, childhood, about 1.5 साल से 7 साल, where the brain goes from half the weight to about 95% of the weight by the age of 7, but the body is still 1/4 the weight of an adult. Normal, patla dubla आदमी का 1/4. You're a doctor, you know that way. Okay, so that way. So that education is very critical, and society is. So socializing, yes, 100%, that's what it is, but not. Our schools are not organized for it.
And there's no doubt there are many evils associated with socializing. For example, bullying is a menace in
yes.
teenage, and that's also a part of socializing. But at the same time, as the child is growing up from the age of 5 onwards, especially these days when the siblings are very few and sometimes the parents have just one child, in that situation, unless the child interacts with the peer group, children of the same age, how will the child learn that I cannot have my way all the time? I may have an ego which has a place, which in fact needs to be consolidated, but same time I also have to learn ego control. Now, you have to have a real life situation for that, and that is what schools are providing. And I mean, of course, one can argue that even whether that is happening in the ideal way, it's happening properly, but just because it is not happening in the ideal way does not mean that we dispense with it altogether instead of trying to improve what is wrong with it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Just last thing, actually. My standard phrase is, the ideal social group of a child is 3 older and 2 younger. Same age तो भैया factory system है, वो तो school का दिया हुआ है. In real life it never happens. Never happens. After school, the same age definition of peership is flawed. 100% flawed. Your boss at work will be 20 years younger to you, or your immediate subordinate will be 30 years younger to you. Both happen. Your husband and wife are not the same age. Children and the parents are not the same age. भैया वो ये तो इसलिए schools need to be reorganized. Schools need to be reorganized if socialization has to be achieved. Good socialization has to be achieved. That's something. So and I can only see it happening in schools. No doubt. As I said, many things should go to school. Academics should come out of it, and schools should have 8 periods, means a 7th period on non-academics. Just the opposite of what it is today. So
I think now time is running out.
Yes.
Let's see if there are any questions which the few participants that we have any questions. I can see now we are left with only 2 participants besides our own team.
Yes.
Marcelo and Raquel, they are from Argentina.
Okay.
They are mother and son.
Oh, very interested.
They have joined us. So Marcelo, any questions?
There's a question by him in the chat box, so I'll just read it so you can respond. He's asking that, which is the most significant aspect of teaching maths in the life of a human being? Is it only for practical purpose in life, or is there something else you take into account? And by something else, he means, is there a higher purpose or a value of teaching maths in regard to the life of the student? So that is what he wants to know.
Okay. No. So I think I somewhere implied that mathematics by definition is called the language of God. This is a very, very well established fact. The universe runs mathematically, order. Okay, things, as Bhaiya said, things that we don't understand and say chaos are actually not chaos. Okay, it's just that we don't understand the order yet there. So yes. So first, mathematics is a way of thinking. A mathematical mind thinks in a particular manner, and one vivid example of the same is that a mathematical mind will ask why endlessly. That only comes out of mathematics, because math is the only domain where you can endlessly ask why. So that's one. Second, the higher order comes by itself, because as I said, that will be understood. Math is the language of order. Math is the language of order. That's the only way you can express order or capture order. And the universe is order. You can't imagine a universe which is chaotic in any way, actually. We'll all be dead, we'll not be there. So yes, both practical as well as evolutionary better mind comes out of more mathematized understanding of things.
If there are no more questions, maybe Aditi, you would like to say something?
No, I've just been really hearing with all my attention, and your energy is very contagious. Like the passion which you hold for education is what is somehow getting into. And I'm learning a lot because maths is a subject in that sense. Even when we go to the conventional education, is something like for intelligent students. So somebody who's an intelligent student in the class will study maths, and people who like us, like average students, will not. And especially, so I was just wondering, when I was in school, I could know that okay, maths has a different perspective. So I had to really figure out my way to understand that. And also, like when you were something which really stayed with me in terms of education is that assessment is for teaching and not for learning. And somehow, even in my own, like at the university level education, I struggle with it that students come with a sense of entitlement that you tell me what to write and I'll write. And because teacher is an employee, so it's like I want to give good content so that the students perform well, so that I am like whatever, this is how the system works. So that really stayed with me that it's true, like it's only they feel that it's their right to have a good content, but not their duty to think well. And how can we just work around it? So that's something which, of course, I'm interested in exploring. So that really stayed with me that, yeah, that's so true. And what are people doing about it? And what can I do about it? It's not so much about what the world is doing, but how can I contribute to the cause? So that was very much
Aditi,
like,
just one
yeah,
input to you.
sure.
So hereafter, just after this session, you stop saying that you were ever average or weak in maths. And if you must say something like that, you'll say that I was average or weak in school mathematics. What school called mathematics? Do you appreciate the statement at least? Yes. What the school calls mathematics, you are weak in that. And second, you were fortunate that you were weak in school mathematics, honestly speaking. Truly, I don't have to flatter anyone in my life now. I'm 57 now, so that phase of life is over. Uh, 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 you are lucky that your mind can still think without those encumbrances that come out of abstracting mathematics. You can still think mathematically. The real scenario. 5 chairs or 6 chairs, so 5 plus 1 or 6 plus 1, you can still see that. And your mind is open. So I can guarantee you are the target, the person to learn mathematics in 50 hours, which no one knows. The best IT topper. So if you ask any IT topper in the last 70 years, how much is 8 by half? What do you expect to hear? 16. First, they will not be able to tell you why. तो अपने 2 को ऊपर ले जाओ. Which you refused in grade 5th, you refused. ये क्या मतलब है? मुझे नहीं समझना ये. And mathematized thinking is a beautiful thing to happen to anyone.
I think that's the key phrase for all of us, mathematics thinking. I think we can stay with that and see how it unfolds. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy. Thank you, Bhaiya. Happy. And I would love to explore. I would love to explore with you if I can contribute in any way to make this platform one platform to make this difference of mathematics thinking of the world. I'll be very happy. And as I said, the entire thing is 50 hours anyway. It's just that much anyway, actually.
It's very tempting. Just 50 hours of maths is all a person needs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
50 hours of good learning is enough.
Yes, that's it. और भैया अरे एक और बताए वो ना 15 के बाद 20 के बाद you will realize कि no, I don't need to hear Sandeep. I can just read books and get it. एक वो भी एंगल है. So not 50 hours of teaching. Just 15 घंटे to get the hang of the foundations. And then you can do on your own, actually.
So that's what good teaching is about.
Yes.
To make the student a self-learner.
Yes.
And a self-motivated self-learner.
Yes. ठीक है भैया. I'll see you sometime, भैया. I'll see you sometime. Yes. ठीक है. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope to have you again, and we look forward to your 50 hours of
Yes.
maths.
Yeah, भैया. I'll be happy. I'll be happy. Thanks,
Thank
Aditi.
you.
Thank you. And Marcelo and Rachel. Thank you. Bye.